Okay, so you're looking to get in shape. One of the easiest things that we can do in order to facilitate that is to start tracking our intake. So looking at what we're eating and keeping an eye on that over the course of the week, month, months, however long it is that you're planning on dieting for, um, in order to make sure that we're hitting our targets and we're hitting our averages over the course of the week. Now, one of the best ways of doing that in this current day and age of smartphones and internet access is going to be Myfitnesspal. It's a very easy app to use, but it does tend to throw some people off because there is a little bit of a learning period to go with it. So we're going to try and shortcut that learning process, allowing us to get on top of our tracking earlier and make sure that we're making progress with our intake, with tracking it, with managing it from day one. We're going to take a look at the app. It's not that complicated. However, it's not as intuitive as one might hope. So we'll take a little look at how we set our goals, and we'll also take a look at how we will track our calories using the app, which is in itself measuring our intake. And as you've all probably heard previously, a measured thing is a managed thing. So this app allows us to keep an eye on our week and our month and what our averages are, and allows us to manage those so that we stay on target and make forward progress. Okay, so what we've got here is the desktop app. Now over on the far left, I'm going to stick the mobile app as well so that we can have a look at them side by side and see what's going on with both, okay? Because they are slightly different in the way they're laid out, which can make things a little bit confusing for people, so just bear that in mind. Now, the versions that I'm using right here are both the free versions. I don't need anybody to be messing around with the premium versions. The free version has enough capability on its own that you should have no problems at all getting by on the free version only. You don't need to upgrade and pay the money for that premium version, okay? Now what we've got here is the home page, okay? When you get to the home page, you're going to have your calories remaining for the day, your goal, how much food you've had over the course of the day, and what you've got remaining. This is a demo account, so bear in mind I haven't had 215 calories worth of food today, and I do not have 2,385 remaining for the day. Now, not such an important page, you're just going to skip past this for the most part, but it does allow you to jump into the goals section, which is right here. Now, on the desktop app, as you can see, we scroll down, you've got daily nutrition goals, you just click edit. Once you've clicked edit, you can enter your macronutrient targets in grams, okay? So we've got 250, 80, 220. You just pop those in grams, hit save changes, it'll work out your calories for you, you don't need to do that. And that's pretty much it. You head back to goals and you've set your targets, okay? Now, one thing I will stress that is very important is that you should always, always, always have exercise calories turned off. You do not want Myfitnesspal trying to adjust on the fly how many calories you need because it thinks you're burning more. Your calories get set for the day, that's what you get. Just because you do 500 calories worth of activity doesn't mean you get an additional 500 calories on your target. That's not how it works, okay? After you've done that, the next thing we're going to look at is going to be food. So, food, the bit everybody's interested in because it's the important part, right? It's what keeps us happy, it's what gets us through the day. Now, on the desktop app, it's real simple. There's an add food button. You click add food and you get to search Myfitnesspal's database of foods. So I've added 3 eggs already, but I'm going to add 2 slices of bread into that because I'm going to have some eggs with toast. So we're going to put in bread and we're going to search. And that's going to give us a lot of options. So we're now going to change that slightly because we want to kind of narrow it down. We're going to go to brown bread and I'll put in a brand because that makes it even easier for me to find exactly what I'm looking for. So we'll pop in Warburton's brown bread, and I get right here at the top Warburton's brown bread. I'll pop that in. I'm going to have 2 of those, so I'll put in 2, click add food to diary, and there you go. 3 whole eggs already in there, Warburton's brown bread, 2 slices, and that gives me all of my macro breakdown for that. So it's telling me I'm getting 34 grams of carbs, I'm getting 3 grams of fat, 9 grams of protein from those 2 slices of bread. So I have entered into this so far 3 large eggs and 2 slices of brown bread, and as we can see, that gives us all of the breakdown of what's in each of these individual food types, or individual foodstuffs. Let's not worry too much about that. Let's scroll down to the bottom, and on the desktop app, all we do is scroll to the bottom and hit the nutrition button, and we're going to get our breakdown of our nutrition, our global overview. Okay, so it's going to tell us that from that meal we've had 35 grams of carbs, 17 grams of fat, and 28 grams of protein. Okay, and that comes out of the targets that I set at the start for the day, leaving me with 215 grams of carbs, 63 grams of fat, and 182 grams of protein remaining. So I still have that to get through over the course of the day. Okay? Now, here's where you can get a little bit more interesting with it, because if you do this the night before, you can plan out your entire day and make sure that you're hitting your targets rather than doing it reactively through the day. You know, I wake up, I go to Pret, I have, you know, a croissant and one of their egg pots at Pret, I track that. I go to lunch and I have something from a pop-up vendor, and I guesstimate the calories in that because that's the best I'm going to manage, and I track that. I go out for dinner, and I have food at a restaurant that does have their information on Myfitnesspal, and I track that, and I get to the end of the day and I look at my food and I'm like, oh man, I'm over on my fats, because I'm tracking reactively rather than proactively. I'm not planning my day before I get to it. Okay, so what we would look to do is we would look to set up our day in advance using Myfitnesspal, so that when we wake up the next day we know what we're going to eat. If we've got our meals prepped and we've tracked our prep meals, brilliant, so be it. Don't need to worry too much at all. If we are planning on doing it a little bit more flexibly, we're going to eat in certain restaurants, or we're gonna buy some food from the supermarket on our way into work or at lunchtime, then we plan that in advance so we know when we go to the supermarket or when we go to the restaurant what we're going to have. It just makes life that little bit easier. Okay? Now, that's a really, really brief breakdown of Myfitnesspal. Is there anything else on there that you really need it for? No, you don't need to worry about exercise on there. You're not going to be pulling reports from it. This is not corporate fat loss, okay? One thing that it will get really useful for is if you do like to cook, because what you can do is you can log your actual meals individually, so you can basically put together your own meals, and then when you say, for instance, you know, JP's pesto pasta or JP's chicken pesto pasta, you can put in JP's chicken pesto pasta, and the meal that you've logged will come up with the macros that you've logged for that meal, and you're going to be able to make life a little bit easier for yourself there by doing that. That's if you like to cook, if you are one of those that is a fan of getting into the kitchen. However, the food itself, the food diary, as you get used to using it, as you use it more and more, as you can see from here, there's a lot of options that come up. And the reason that those options come up is because I've used this app a lot to demonstrate how to track things to clients, and it remembers all of the things that I've looked up. So once you've looked up these things a few times, you are going to eat in a relatively similar pattern. Almost everybody does. People aren't that adventurous with their foods. We're all eating the same types of food over and over again. Once you've logged it once, it's always going to be there. So as long as you've accurately put in the amount you had, it's going to be quicker to get that tracking done. So when you first start doing it, it is a little bit of a lengthy procedure, because you do need to search the food, make sure you're picking the right one from the options, and make sure you're putting in the right amounts for that food. But once you've done that once, it will remember it for you. It makes it very easy, and that's why the more you use it, the faster your tracking will get, the quicker and the more painless this will be. So that's Myfitnesspal. If you've got any questions, if you've got any problems, if you've got any issues, drop me a message.